underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility in the midst of it.
You know, when you take your clothes to the cleaners, they give you a tag, and you then go back and you retrieve your clothes. When you get luggage, you go and get your luggage is returned. Well,
I wish the Biden administration would have done that.
Let me just say this to you, sir. Again, it is my time. 3,900 children were separated from their families.
450,000 kids were lost during the Biden administration. You didn't say a word about it.
Mr. Secretary, do not interrupt.
Don't you point your finger at me. Don't
I
be a
will
hypocrite.
point my finger at you.
Don't you be a hypocrite then. Then you be as you should be as upset about the 450,000 kids that were lost. You didn't say a word about it. For 4 years, you never said a word.
Mr. Secretary.
Could you put him in his place for
don't yell at me.
You should be put in your place.
Mr. Secretary.
I mean, Caitlin to the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck.
All right, in the moment, no whistle, no foul. Now, amid backlash, the WNBA announcing just last hour, the Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas has received a flagrant foul, 2 penalty, and a 1-game suspension. But it does beg the question, how does the biggest star the league has ever produced keep getting treated like this? It's become a pattern. Not just hard fouls, not just physical basketball, but cheap shots. And now her coach has had enough.
Absolutely disrespectful. We have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had 2 cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say again, absolutely unacceptable.
This isn't new, unfortunately. Caitlin Clark has been getting beat up on, and seems like it's against everyone, the opposing teams, the officials, even the league itself. The latest snub by the WNBA is leaving Clark off a promotional poster highlighting its top players over the last 30 years. It's pretty nuts considering all she's done for the league. And when you compare her stats to a couple of those put on the poster, it really doesn't add up. Dave Portnoy pointing out on X, well, Caitlin Clark fans can't say, well, it says CC. Well, CC fans can't say we're racist against Caitlin if we put Sophie on the poster, talking about another white player. WNBA execs probably. He's pointing out what he guesses is their rationale. I mean, how do you leave off the most consequential player in the history of the league?
Vamos, papá, vamos, ya tenemos acá. Ven, tómate poquito. Ya, no quiero más. El pote, la vaina, lo que lo... Vamos a buscarla ya, papá.
So we had the spectacle of my successor in the Oval Office making broad claims around certain drugs and autism that have been continuously disproved. And
most people would define a vaccine as a benign and harmless injection that makes people immune to a disease, reliably preventing infection and transmission of diseases children are likely to be exposed to, and which in the absence of vaccination could be fatal or debilitating. That's a great idea. That's a great idea, and that's what vaccines used to mean. Why the presence of mercury? Why the presence of aluminium? What about the startling, staggering rise in autism? You know what they tried to say? It's, oh, people diagnose it more. That's what's happened. Well, why ain't any Amish people getting it? So there's Barack Obama, who, whilst he might seem superficially like to be kind of delightful, charming and stuff, that dude's corrupt.
Secretary Mullen, does DHS have any official, specific internal goals or policies to reduce deaths in custody?
Ma'am, your numbers just aren't accurate. We've had 0.009%.
Mr. Secretary,
You're asking about this. It's 0.009% of deaths. And we've had 54 total in the president's time. Those are dangerous accusations you're making.
Mr. Secretary.
Those are dangerous accusations that she's making. Because in the state of Illinois, they're twice as high to die in the state penitentiary of Illinois than they are in detention.
You are invited to this committee. This is my time.
And you need to be informed by what you're saying.
I am informed.
No, you're not, ma'am.
Mr. Secretary, does DHS have any?
Do you realize that? Do you realize that we have one doctor per 1,000 for detention centers for our federal detention centers in the state of Illinois? They have one per 1,800. But yet she wants to focus on our detention centers.
You'll get your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since you bring it up, why don't we just start there? Dr. Verma, I wasn't sure I understood your answer to Senator Moody a moment ago. Do you think that men can get pregnant?
I hesitated there because I wasn't sure where the conversation was going or what the goal was. I mean, I do take care of patients with different identities. I take care of many women. I take care of people with different identities. And so that's where I paused. I think, I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
Well, the goal is just the truth. So can men get pregnant?
Again, the reason I paused there is I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is.
The goal is just to establish a biological reality. You just said a moment ago that science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. Absolutely. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool.
No, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert, and you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating male with...
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
What you were talking about is biological...
You're not going to answer my question.
Biological males...
All right, Thursday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good. As always, be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. And in case I forget, tomorrow night, Bible study on Instagram and TikTok live only. So that's where we'll be tomorrow at 8 o'clock. TikTok and Instagram live tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Bible study only, talking about unbelief tomorrow night. So be ready. All right, so here we go. Let me see who's in the chat here. Guitar Glenn is on. Ever Eden is on. Jules 21 Hours is on. Patrina C is on. Schooner Magruder is on. Release the Hog is on. Deb Powell Fitty is on. Jim Brody is on. JD Joy is on. Robin Aroni is on. Conservative Warrior is on. Luann 5 is on. Skunk 71 is on. Forager for Life is on. Wisconsin Honey Badger is on. Scrolling down. USA Abbey Girl is on. K4 VMS is on. Laura Jean Lynn is on. Agravane is on. Captain Cliff is on. Great T1AU is on. Scrolling down, Snod Dot is on, PD Frank is on, Uncle Wally is on, Steffa Toms is on, Gloyd Shaw is on, Milwaukee James is on, Laura Jean Lynn is on, Conservative Warrior is on. Scrolling down, let me see here. Scrolling down, somebody I haven't seen yet. Nate Dad 1 is on, scrolling down. Let me see here, I haven't seen yet. Scrolling down. Let me see. Trying to find somebody I haven't seen yet. Still scrolling down. Producer Aaron is on. Peg Margaroin is on. Let me see if I can get one more I haven't seen yet. Everyone's popping on. Confederate 1 is on. Graybeard is on. Love you guys. Oh, Sweaty is on according to Release Dog. There we go. Got my one more on. This one more. One more before we switched over to this. All right, so here we go. Let's hop onto this. Let's do big victories for Trump today. And I rejoice in Trump's victories big time. This is the greatness of Trump. I would love for it all to be the greatness of Trump. All right, Bridget Gabriel video breaking. The Supreme Court just handed President Trump 2 massive 6-3 victories. Play for me.
And the Supreme Court out with another decision, this time regarding the fate of certain migrants living with temporary protected status. There are a bunch of them, and Shannon Bream joins us again with more. Shannon, how do we read this one?
Okay, so Dana, we read it as a win for the Trump administration, which has wanted to wipe out temporary protected status for more than 1 million people who are living here in this country. These cases centered on a number of Haitian and Syrian refugees who were here in the country. And basically what the court has said is that they can't challenge this decision by the Department of Homeland Security, by the administration, that they're the ones who get to make the assessment about whether they leave or not. I haven't read the whole thing, but they do get into some of the claims that by some of those who are advocating for the Haitian refugees, that there was some kind of racial animus. The court says they don't see evidence of that. So I'll keep reading, but it's another very fractured decision that seems to be a win for the Trump administration, which would be the second win for them on immigration. That earlier decision that we talked about that came out just a few minutes ago saying that if you get to the Mexico border, but you don't make it onto U.S. soil, you can't file an asylum claim. So the Trump administration has to be happy about what they've gotten today. We've still got 8 opinions left, and it looks like Monday will be our next opinion day.
Now, of course, this is the greatness of Donald J. Trump. This is why we elected him. And you know what? When he does stuff that we elected him to do, we need to rejoice in it. We need to give him kudos for it. It may encourage him to get the heck out of Iran and do the things we elected him to do. You know, as they're passing these ridiculous war powers things right now, I'm not even for those things, really. I was for it originally, but then I started thinking about it. And I'm like, why pass the war power stuff now? They're doing it simply because you've got people like Cornyn who are mad at Trump, hate Trump and everything else. So they're just trying to, McConnell and the rest of them are just trying to torpedo Trump. Right now, you don't need to be passing war power things when he's trying to actually get out of Iran. Because then all you're doing is empowering the mullahs to go, look, you have no power to strike us again anyway. That's not what we need right now. We need to get the heck out of there. But I digress. So anyway, this stuff here is fantastic. But I just want to put it this way. And again, this has nothing to do with Trump. This is sad that Trump has to fight these battles. Because let's break down these 2 huge SCOTUS wins. I believe they're huge SCOTUS wins. But they're really nonsensical. Because why in the world would we need them? Think about this. We're having to fight to keep men out of women's restrooms. I mean, we actually have to fight that. That would be like fighting for your right to breathe oxygen. It's rudimentary. You shouldn't need to fight it. So anyway, so the Haitian TPS is terminated. The temporary protective status is terminated. Okay, they're having to fight to terminate temporary status? I mean, does everybody hear this? I mean, I'm wondering how many millions upon millions of dollars is Trump righteously fighting this with? How much money has been spent to actually have the right to terminate temporary protected status when it's temporary? I mean, that's what you're having to fight for. And they're having to fight that this is not racially motivated. How could it even be remotely racially motivated when it wasn't installed by Trump? Therefore, when he removes it, how could it be racially motivated? And then the other one is asylum seekers turned away at the border before they come in the country. We're having to fight to keep people out of the country who are currently not in the country. That's what the Democrats are for. And, this is what peeves me more than anything at Trump, in the midst of the greatness of Trump, is that this is what we should be fighting right now, not the mullahs. This is the stuff that we should be fighting. And credit to Trump, he has a multi-front war. He is fighting it. Great job doing this. But we have plenty of enemies right here domestically. Plenty of them. You should hear the stuff that Gavin Newsom is saying. I have a whole chunk of the show on Gavin Newsom that I knew I wasn't going to get into, so I didn't make Will upload it. So anyway, but the thing is, I've got a whole thing on it. I've got a whole dossier on Gavin Newsom, and this is what we need to be fighting, not the mullahs for Netanyahu. Netanyahu's nothing more than another Gavin Newsom. Why would you partner with him? So we're actually having to fight a court battle to keep people from claiming asylum who are outside of the country. You can't claim asylum until you're in the country. Everybody remembers, if you're my age, you're 57, back in the day when you had the Russian defectors, how would they actually defect? They'd have to come into our country and then claim asylum. Why is this even a court battle? Because of the Democrats. And that's who needs to be defeated. Yes, I can't stand Benny Johnson. Yes, I can't stand Cat Turd. Yes, I can't stand Sean Ferris. I can't stand Stephen Miller. And all of the Israel sycophants. But they're just wrong in one area. They're wrong in more than one area, but they're wrong in less areas than the Democrats. So I will gladly vote with them coming in. Now, I'm not voting MAGA anymore. I'm out of MAGA. I'm out. You never say never. I have said I'll never vote for J.D. Vance unless there's mass repentance. There has to be mass repentance. He would have to prove himself beyond proving himself. Marco Rubio will never even try to do it. Vance may try to do it. Vance is trying to be Israel critical right now. So you never know. But as of right now, I'll never vote for J.D. Vance. But anyway, so go to the next one for me. Publius tweet. Judicial tyranny. Now, this is also the greatness of Trump. But he just keeps getting overturned by leftist wackos. The woman on the left. Look at her freaking face. I know you're not supposed to judge according to her appearance, and I won't spiritually, okay? But look at, you can just see this woman. She's a freaking wacko. You know that she is. She's one of these wacko leftist women who take self-defense classes, believing now she can beat up men. She's just one of those freaking wacko women. All right, judicial tyranny. Obama appointed, what a shock, activist judge Indira Tiwani, I wonder where she was born, just blocked President Trump's executive order to secure mail-in voting. Senate confirmed her on May 8, 2014 by a 94-0 vote. That means all the Republicans voted for her too. That just shows you there's no difference. That's why we're having to have a Republican civil war. Hopefully people are waking up. I don't see the mass repentance. Now that we're in day 119 of this war, in a very tenuous 60-day ceasefire, which, by the way, the Iranians just attacked a cargo ship earlier today in the Strait using a drone in violation of the MOU. Isn't it going great? This is why you don't fight the Arabs. We have no interest there. You don't need to fight them. You got a pile of feces in Netanyahu, and you got a pile of feces with the mullahs, and you simply step over it. There's some ridiculous Republicans now that are pseudo-advocating for Islamists. You have stepped in the Islamic pile of poop. You didn't step in the Israeli one, but you stepped and you've now rolled in the Islamist pile of poop. You're actually going to ignore the Islamic invasion around the globe now because you hate Israel? You're stupid. But Tom, you're Israel critical. That doesn't mean I have to roll in the Islamic poop. I don't choose either pile of feces. And this just shows you right here. This shows you this woman, this whack job. Couldn't be anything but a lesbian. We all know that. It was voted in by Republicans. Lindsey Graham, Thune, all the rest of them. McConnell, I'm thinking of them at the time who were senators, Murkowski, Collins, all the rest of them voted for her. John McCain voted for her. There you go. All right, let's go to the next one for me. Daily Caller tweet. Netanyahu, Aaron's going to love this one. Netanyahu admits he dragged the U.S. into the 12-day war. Well, don't you think it probably means he dragged us into what war? The 119-day war that we're currently in? If he dragged us into the 12-day war back in July of 2025, how many of us want to bet that he dragged us into the 118-day war here in June of 2026? 1 month from the July of 2025 one. Asking day war without asking first. I did not ask for permission. The article from the Daily Caller. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu admitted that he never asked President Trump for permission before launching the first round of strikes on Iran in 2025, according to the Times of Israel. So what did Marco Rubio say right before this war? Marco Rubio said the reason why we are striking Iran is we know that Israel's going to do it first. And by the way, they already had. But anyway, and so we know they're going to strike them first. So we don't want to be caught off guard. That's exactly what they were doing in this war too, in the 12-day war 1 year prior to it. Really 6 months prior to it, 6-7 months prior to it. That's what they were doing before. So if he didn't ask permission then, Trump knew that he wasn't going to ask permission 3 months ago in our 4-day, 119-day war. For 15 days to flatten the curve, 60 days to flatten the curve, 3 years to flatten the curve. All the same people, every time. Netanyahu, COVID whore. Trump was a COVID whore. Operation Warp Speed, Mr. Mask, Mr. Vax to this day. He can't wait to get his next vax. Tom, you were just talking about how great he is. I speak the truth. When I say my truth, I hate saying that, but truth for me is never governed by an individual. It's governed by truth. That's it. If somebody who I followed, who was speaking the truth, changes and now starts to speak lies, I don't call their lies truth. If they were saying good things and now they're saying bad things, I don't call their bad things good. Like Sean Ferris and Gunther Eagleman and all the rest of them. Netanyahu said that he never asked Trump or the U.S. government about his planned strikes on Iran during the outbreak of the first round of bombing on Iran known as the 12-day war. The Times of Israel reported. Citing a translation of speech he gave in Hebrew at the Munai Expo conference in Tel Aviv on Wednesday. The new development emerges as the Iran war stays temporarily paused under a fragile 60-day ceasefire with no normal peace deal officially signed between the U.S. and Iran. Go to the next one for me. In the midst of this, we have this. Lockheed Martin, owned by BlackRock, strikes $35 billion deal to restock depleted THAAD interceptor stockpile. Where does that go, Aaron?
Israel.
Yeah. And who's paying for it, Aaron?
We are.
Yeah. Are the Israeli citizens being taxed for this?
No.
No? Will is.
Yeah.
Then that's what we're paying for. So the Pentagon has awarded Lockheed Martin a 7-year contract because we've blown up all of our missiles. Our stockpile is at record low. Our SPR is at record low. Our SPR is lower than it was during the Reagan administration. Everybody know that? But now it's good because Trump did it. It's horrible when Biden did it. And it was horrible when Biden did it. And why they both do it? To manipulate oil prices. The Pentagon has awarded Lockheed Martin a 7-year contract worth up to $35 billion to churn out hundreds of terminal high altitude area defense THAAD interceptors a year in an effort to replenish dwindling U.S. munitions stockpiles. I wonder why that is. Oh, you know why? We're replenishing all of our THAAD missiles so that Aaron gets stuff. No, Aaron gets nothing. You get nothing. I get nothing. Will gets nothing. The 324 people watching this right now get nothing. But Israel gets tax-free munitions paid for by not tax-free for them. Tax paid for by us. Announced Wednesday, the award means Lockheed Martin will receive an initial $842.9 million in a country that's $188 trillion in debt. According to the Missile Defense Agency, used in the Iran war, THAAD interceptors are capable of neutralizing ballistic missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere and can cost more than $12 million each to produce, to shoot down missiles that cost $10,000. Great job getting into this war. Listen, when it comes to Trump, I'm by. I'm by. Yeah. Whatever's true is true. I mean, that's the way that it is. I'll talk about how bad Trump is. I'll talk about how good Trump is. This is bad. We didn't need to expend any of this. What have we gotten out of it? What's Israel gotten out of it? What Israel's gotten out of this is being able to attack southern Lebanon. That's what they got out of it. What did they do to Iran? Have they depleted their uranium stockpiles? That was already done a year ago, if it was ever done to begin with. Are we getting the uranium out of there? No. Is the Strait of Hormuz open? No. We have 1/3. I'm being generous. 1/3 of the ships going through there right now. Israel's gotten absolutely nothing out of it. Go to the next one for me. The story video breaking now. New details of Iranian drone attack on cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Play it for me.
A U.S. official is confirming that an Iranian drone hit that cargo vessel called the Ever Lovely as it was exiting the Strait of Hormuz off the Omani coast today. The ship is Singapore flagged. UK authorities say there was damage to the ship's bridge, but no casualties. The attack violates the memorandum of understanding signed between the U.S. and Iran just 8 days ago. That deal had helped sharply increase the amount of oil flowing through the strait. CENTCOM says more than 500 ships and 250 million barrels of crude have flowed through the strait since early May through the U.S. military's help with both mine clearance and transit coordination. That 250 million barrels is a significant jump from the 100 million CENTCOM announced on June 10th. So this was a slow return to normal of both vessels and regular traffic patterns in the strait. Oil is up on this attack. Oil is up $2 today at $72 a barrel. But look at gasoline. Regular gasoline nationwide is averaging $3.91 today. But after this latest attack, obviously that is changing. The International Maritime Organization has now paused its ship evacuation plan for the Strait of Hormuz, but CENTCOM says traffic has not stopped. That is a priority, and the Persian Gulf Strait Authority, flexing their muscles, says any vessel passing outside the framework set by Iran will not be guaranteed safe.
Guess what we didn't have any problems with before the war? Anything that she just talked about. No problem with oil prices. No problem passing the straits. We didn't have to have our military there, the United States Navy. We didn't have to have the United States Navy there in the strait granting safe passage and clearing mines. What have we gotten? Absolutely nothing. Nothing whatsoever. All right, so off the Iran war. Let's go to border security, shall we? Let's go to border security. All right, Tommy Robinson video. So we're gonna go to the UK first. We're gonna go to the UK. You heard recently Donald Trump just absolutely eviscerate Keir Starmer, saying he had two key problems. Then he went up to three. Two key problems: illegal immigration and fossil fuels. And then he said also a crime problem. So let's go there. Tommy Robinson video. The absolute state of their suicidal empathy. Watch this. Play for me.
It's been a real privilege to be joining everyone here today in Jubilee Library to receive, on behalf of Brighton and Hove City Sanctuary, the Council of Sanctuary Award. Today, on Refugee Day, we recognise the strength, the courage and the resilience of people being forced to leave their homes in search of safety. We recognise the contributions that refugees make to our amazing and colourful city, culturally, economically and socially. I want to say thank you to the many organisations, the many residents and the many volunteers who have made this award possible and who give so much time and energy to helping refugees feel welcome in our lovely...
I mean, again, they're calling these people refugees, and this is my whole thing. So the greatness of Trump is our southern border is ostensibly closed. And then he just won 2 court battles to keep it more closed than it already is, where nobody can, for some reason, having to fight this is unreal, where you can't claim asylum outside of our country. And then he had to fight to end temporary status, and temporary status means end. So you had to fight for that. And Trump won both those SCOTUS battles, 6-3, but he won them. And by the way, credit to the Supreme Court justice, 6-3. That means all the conservatives actually did the right thing. That's highly unusual for us to be in lockstep. Democrats are always in lockstep, but Republicans or conservatives rarely are, if you want to call John Roberts a conservative. But anyway, some of the others also, and I won't get into going through each one, but they, obviously at times, they're not overly conservative either. But anyway, so greatness of Trump is that we at least have a president that is the opposite of the video that we just watched. We actually do. We have a president who has secured our borders, is trying to secure our elections, did some stuff I don't like. I hate the big, beautiful bill, hate the Iran war, but he does great things too. All right. And one of those things that I think about is I need to be thankful that we are not at this state yet. and the idiocy of some people on the right now starting to live in oblivion about the Islamic invasion. And I've already done all the Trump critical. I've already done it. I've already done the Trump critical. I've already done the Israel critical. I don't have to choose, again, between Israel and Islam. Both of those religions, Judaism and Islam, send people to hell. That's it. So I don't have to choose. I don't have to choose to be a part of any of their conflicts at all. All right, so that's the way it is. But to act like on the right now, because there's some people on the right. I saw it today. I'm trying to think of who it was. I think it was Jake Shields, big anti-Israel guy. They were talking about the Islamic slaughter of some Turkish people or something. I can't remember what it was. There's a massive ISIS slaughter. And then he goes, well, that was paid for by Mossad. It was ISIS slaughtering a bunch of Kurds or Turkish people or something. And it's all factual. It's 500,000 of them slaughtered by ISIS. And Jake Shields' response was, that was paid for by Mossad and CIA, which is true, probably. I don't know that, but it's probably true. All right, now, so who's bad? The CIA, Mossad, and ISIS. It's just like the 10/7 invasion of Israel, by Hamas. Now, who created Hamas? Israel. But who actually did the invasion? Islamic terrorists. Who didn't respond? Israel. Who let them in? Israel. Who did the raping and the killing? Islamists. Who's bad? Israel and the Islamists.
Yep.
That's how it is. That's how life is. Everything is not a movie. Good. Bad. It's not a movie. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. When I'm being sarcastic like that, that's not for you. It's for your relatives that you need to send this video to. All right, so here we go. So there you see, that's in England. Radio Genoa, another doctor has arrived in France. Play it for me. That is what they're letting in. That's what they're letting in into France by white Anglo-European politicians. That person was let in. That person probably has a 58 IQ. Tom, you're a racist. No, it's just a fact. We've done it country by country on the show via graphs, showing you the average IQs coming out of these African Islamic countries that are free flowing into the UK.
Yep.
That's what, okay, and they have, I mean, does this person even know what rape is? They may not even know what rape is. That doesn't excuse them. I'm just saying that they don't even know. They literally are operating at a 4-year-old level as a man with a machete who can bench press 300 pounds. There you go. Go to the next one for me. Here's another genius that they let into the country. Play it for me. That's who's let in by white, Anglo, or heritage. They don't have to be white. It's just easy to say white. White, Anglo, or heritage European politicians. Let them into their countries. Now, here's the result. Go to the next one for me, Will. Here's the rape statistics in Europe. 2000, England and Wales, 8,500 per year. Now, 68,000. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's 23 years.
Yep.
All right. Germany, back 23 years ago, 8,000 per year. Now they only have 30,000 more per year. In France, 7,500 per year. Now they have 42,500, 42,400. Poland, who lets in nobody, had 2,000 23 years ago. Now they have 1,000. What's the common denominator there? Look below the pic. Look below the graph. There's the common denominator. All the countries, the top 3 countries there, everybody but Poland lets all these people in. I don't care if they're black. I don't care if they're white. Pakistanis are pseudo-white, and they're the rape gangs in the UK. They're not black like this. I don't care what they are. What all of these people are low IQ, just low IQ animals for the most part. And look at the rape stats. And these are their own citizens being raped. They're not raping each other. They're raping European women, because most of the people that are allowed into the country are black men or Arab men. fighting age men, which is all on purpose also, but I won't digress into my whole globalist ideology right at the moment. All right, go to the next for me. Tommy Robinson tweet. Another day, more invaders. Convicted of sex attacks on our people. It was put out today. The 3 Afghans, were found guilty today following an investigation into grooming and sexual abuse of a vulnerable 16-year-old girl in Hull. I'm not even going to try the names. Whatever, Arab 1, Arab 2, Arab 3 abused the child. Legacy Media didn't even bother reporting it. So there's another day. And then you have remember that woman in the first video? The absolute state of their suicidal empathy is how Tommy Robinson titled it. Welcoming these people in and giving people awards for not prosecuting them and for conducting sanctuary cities. Isn't that great? All right, let's go to the next one. Homeland Security video from the Trump administration. This illegal alien who exposed his genitals to one woman and then tried to abduct another was previously released by Fairfax County sanctuary politicians despite being arrested for drug trafficking in 2024. So in 2024, not less than 2 years ago, he was arrested for drug trafficking. Correct me if I'm wrong, 25 years in law enforcement. That would be a felony.
Yeah.
He was released and sanctuary politicians refused to hand this predator over to ICE. And now he gets released by Democrats. This is the war that we should be fighting politically. This is the war that we should be fighting. Instead, are we doing mass deportations?
Nope.
Nope. So this guy's still here. We're not doing mass deportations because squishy, cowardly Republicans didn't have the balls to do it. And because Democrats scared the squishy Republicans who don't have the balls to do it out of doing it. So now we end up with this guy still here. Play for me.
Fairfax County police say Moises Domingo Rico Rosales exposed himself to a woman at Wakefield Park in Annandale on Sunday. Then, that same day, he allegedly tried to abduct a different woman. Police say she was trying to ride her bike when Rico Rosales stepped in front of her and tried to pull her into the woods, then continued to chase her after she fought him off. The Department of Homeland Security told me the man is from Nicaragua and he entered the U.S. illegally in Arizona. Court records show he has a lengthy criminal history in Fairfax County, but Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Toscano and Sheriff Stacey Kincaid let him walk free, despite being charged with felonies on 2 separate occasions. A Homeland spokesperson told me, quote, Fairfax County sanctuary politicians refused to cooperate with ICE law enforcement and released him from jail. This predator was released by the Biden administration into our country in 2022. DHS is calling on Governor Abigail Spanberger and her fellow sanctuary politicians to commit to not releasing this criminal and instead turn him over to ICE custody. Rico Rosales faced drug charges in 2024 for allegedly selling fentanyl pills. State law requires people convicted of selling fentanyl to serve a minimum of 5 years in prison. But according to court records, Toscano's office dropped the drug charges. And when ICE issued an immigration detainer, ICE says Sheriff Kincaid ignored it.
How do you drop the drug charges for trafficking fentanyl? And again, I could go all globalist on you in Book of Revelation 13 and 14. I can't do it on the Bible podcast because I'll be banned off of TikTok and Instagram instantly. But anyway, I'm trying to actually keep that pure, and I'm not going to do it tonight because it would take too long. But think about it. Why would they do that? Because they want to make society less safe so that they can bring in their various flock programs and everything else to keep us safe. For when they shall say, that's what it is, folks. That's why you have Soros and his elected DAs all around our country who refuse to prosecute gun crime. Why do they not prosecute gun crime? So that they have a lot of gun crime so that they can have a reason or an excuse to come and confiscate our guns to keep us safe using flock and every other Palantir JD Vance program. All right, that's so for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child. But ye brethren are not in darkness that day should overtake you as a thief. The thief cometh not before to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That's it, folks. I mean, again, that's what this life is really all about. That really is not Republican versus Democrat. It's really, you know what? Who is trying to usher in the end times? Who is trying to usher in leveraging us into a one world commerce system? Who's trying to do that and who's not? I don't know how many people aren't right now. And you have people who knowingly are doing it, and then you have the pawns of the people knowingly doing it. And this guy right here, think about it. So he was arrested for fentanyl trafficking and was released. And then what do we get? It's not only the exposure, which is gross enough, but he wasn't just exposing himself. He exposed his genitals to one woman and then tried to abduct another one. Jeez. Okay, those abductions from these illegal aliens always end in death. Lake and Riley, numerous others, and Democrats are fighting for this. And it's very hard to focus on the Democrats right now because of the outrageous idiocy going on in the MAGA movement. But you know what? We can coalesce together. We can, because, we can all agree that, Hector here needed to be deported in 2022 or 2024, 2024. All right, go to the next one for me. Now, here's some people paying the price. 8 members of an Antifa cell that attacked an ICE facility in Texas were sentenced to a total of 450 years today on terror charges. Greatness of Trump, right here. Greatness of Trump. This is what you do. Benjamin Song, 100 years. And you know how much, I'm going to give everybody some free advice. Do you know how many years that you serve on a federal sentence? All of it. You don't get out, ever. Like in the next one, Maricela Ruda, you know how many years she's actually going to spend in prison? 70 years. 70. So will Cameron Arnold, 50 years. Savannah Batten, 50 years. Zachary Evans, 50 years. Bradford Morris, 50 years. Elizabeth Soto, 50 years. Daniel Sanchez, 30 years. The militant far-left Antifa extremists were sentenced for their roles in an armed attack and riot at the Prairie Land ICE detention facility in Alvarado, Texas last July. The group rioted outside the facility, vandalized property, used fireworks, and shot at officers to stop deportations of illegal migrants. Like Hector, the guy who wants to expose his genitals to one woman and abduct the next. They're fighting to keep it in. And what do? Instead of actually doing this all the time, we're over in Iran. I mean, think about how great think about what we could be doing. And Trump does great things. He does great things. Just think if he could just do the great things and none of the dumb ones. Wouldn't that be great? I would love that. All right, go to the next one. All right, Ben Swan video. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's the Antifa members. They all look stalwart, don't they? Ugh. There's the...
So ugly.
Looks like half of those needed to be deported themselves. So there you go. And there's the 450 years total. Thank you, guys. All right, go to the next one here. Ben Swan video. Going back to the UK. I'm still all in my border security section of the show. British MP Rupert Lowe has released the independent rape gang inquiry report, and its findings are deeply disturbing. A little bit long, 442. Play it for me.
We begin tonight with a story that is so disturbing, so politically radioactive, that for years many people in power appeared afraid to even touch it. But tonight, we will. According to a new report released by a British member of parliament, Rupert Lowe, alongside survivors and advocates, an estimated 250,000 young girls in the United Kingdom may have been victims of organized grooming gangs over the last several decades. 250,000. That is a massive number, and it may represent one of the biggest systematic failures in modern British history. The report details allegations of grooming, of child sexual abuse, of torture, and so much more. It claims that these crimes occurred across 149 districts throughout the United Kingdom, with many of the victims being girls as young as 12 and 13 years old. They were allegedly targeted with gifts, with alcohol and drugs, before being exploited by organized groups of men in order to be trafficked and then forced into relationships. The inquiry also claims that many of the offenders identified were men of Pakistani Muslim heritage operating in organized networks. And it argues that authorities were often reluctant to discuss those patterns publicly out of fear of racial or community tensions. Now listen, criminals are responsible for their own actions, and no one community should be collectively blamed for the crimes of individuals. But ignoring patterns out of fear of being called racist, that is not compassion, that is cowardice. And according to this report, that fear may have allowed horrific abuse to continue for years. Because one of the most damning parts of this entire story isn't just what those gangs did, and it was atrocious. It's what authorities failed to do. The report accuses police and social services, local governments, and child protection agencies of repeatedly failing to intervene. Why? Because many officials were terrified of being accused of racism or Islamophobia. Think about that for a minute here. Young girls being horrifically sexually abused. And according to this report, many of the institutions responsible for protecting them failed to act. And this isn't some brand new allegation. Britain has already lived through multiple grooming gang scandals where police and social services and local authorities were accused of looking the other way. The authors of this report argue that those failures were not isolated incidents. They say the same patterns repeated themselves across the country. Warnings were ignored, investigations were stalled, and victims were dismissed. And in some cases, girls were allegedly returned to the very environments where that abuse continued. If even a fraction of these allegations are true, then this isn't just a failure of policing. It is a failure of the entire system that was supposed to protect some of the most vulnerable children in society. So when people ask, well, how could something like this happen? The answer here is actually, it's pretty simple. A government that became more afraid of bad headlines than of failing children. A political culture where some officials appeared to believe that acknowledging certain facts was more dangerous than the actual crimes themselves. Now look, to be fair here, there are critics of this new report. Some are questioning the methodology. Others say the 250,000 figure it's just too large, right? Rather than a full verified national count. That context is important, right? Because serious people should care about evidence here. They should care about the facts. They should care about accuracy. We certainly do. But here's the thing. Even if the real number is not 250,000, even if it's, let's say, half that, even if it's a quarter of that, we would still be talking about an absolute systematic failure. And now the story, of course, is exploding online. Elon Musk and other high-profile figures demanding accountability, asking why so many of these cases receive so little mainstream media attention, asking why these people who failed these children were so rarely punished, and asking a question a lot of British citizens have been asking for years. How many times were people silenced for trying to warn the public? Because this story isn't just about Britain. It's about what happens when ideology overrides reality, when political fear becomes more important than truth, and when institutions start protecting themselves instead of protecting the vulnerable.
All right, so this report comes out called the Rape Gang Inquiry Report, which reveals 250,000 rapes or victims of rape. So who knows how many times each one of them was raped. All right, so 250,000 victims. All right, over 149 districts, a lot of the girls between 12 and 13, and basically almost all of the suspects, all of the perpetrators were Pakistani low IQ Islamists. Inbred, low IQ, make sure you lock up your goats and lock up your sheep. Pakistanis, right? So again, and what happened? All of the white people, all white, black, or whatever, all of the indigenous UK citizens or people in government turned a blind eye to it. Now, it's very interesting. Now, Keir Starmer's been worthless from day one, but basically he resigned right after this came out. Play it for me.
Every decision I've taken has been about putting the country I love first. That is why I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I have spoken to His Majesty the King this morning to inform him of my decision. I will ask the National Executive Committee of the Labour Party to set out a timetable with nominations opening on the 9th of July and completed by the summer recess.
All right, so he resigns basically right after this comes out. Why would that be? Because he was in charge of CPS for a decade or more. Child Protective Services. Imagine being, see, this is what I will never understand. All right. I've had some galactic failures in my life. I've failed. Whatever it may be. And nothing's going to come out in the papers. Okay. It's not like that. I'm just saying I've had some galactic failures. You know what I do when I fail is I'm ashamed of my failures.
Right.
Okay. Whatever those failures were, whatever they were. Whether I lied when I shouldn't have lied, whether I cowarded when I shouldn't have cowarded, not that you ever should, whether I watched porn or whatever it was, okay, I felt the failure and I was ashamed of my failure. Okay, when you sit there and you are in charge of children, like, you saw the debate that I played. I'm no big Mark Wayne Mullins fan, but sometimes I like him when he was going back and forth with the purple-haired Democrat woman in the pregame. The purple-haired Democrat woman was talking about 3,000 kids that were separated from their parents allegedly at the border, which was policy anyway, even in the Obama administration, but I digress. And the cages were built by them. But anyway, she's complaining about 3,800 kids that were separated from their parents, but they weren't really their parents. It's so hard for me to talk simplistically because, there's so much more to all these stories. But anyway, like getting rid of the DNA database to prove whether or not the DNA testing they had at the border, the Biden administration got rid of that so nobody could actually prove whether anybody was their parent or not. But anyway, she's so concerned about those 3,800 kids. She aborts 2 million a year and has no concern whatsoever over the 450,000 that were lost during the Biden administration. Lost into the wind. Again, if you're going to be that galactically incompetent, how about being contrite? I can't, I'm trying to think of some real, I think of a police call that I was on one time. Some of you like cop stories, some of you probably don't. But anyway, I was out there, made an arrest. I was a brand new cop, and I didn't take into consideration that I was leaving the guy's car. There was a big fight going on between a whole bunch of rednecks. And I arrested one of the rednecks, hauled him into the jail. But in Sarasota County, it's a huge rural area, especially at that time, because we're talking about like 1993 here. And I arrested this guy, took him into the jail, came back out, and then the next report, the next call that I got was the guy's car got completely destroyed. Now, whose responsibility was that? This guy. Because it was my job to tow his car. And for some reason, in the midst of it, brand new, whatever. Now, my supervisor got with me. Was I like obstinate? Was I like, it's somebody else's fault? They shouldn't have done that. I'm not talking about they scratched the car. I'm talking about they tore the engine out of it. This was it was a nice car too. All right. It was my fault. Okay. We didn't end up getting sued over it. I don't know if anybody actually ever caught on that it was my fault. But anyway, obviously it's the criminal's fault, but I should have secured the vehicle and I didn't. So anyway, my supervisor went out, go out, take the report, do what you got to do. I wasn't sitting there going, man, you know what? That wasn't on me. It was absolutely on me. And I told him it was. I said, Sarge, it's my fault. Okay, But anyway, you're Keir Starmer, and you're overseeing 250,000 rape victims, and you're talking about how everything you've ever done has been for the good of the country that you love. And as Aaron said, what country is that, though? Never actually said Great Britain that I love. The country that I love is Pakistan. You obviously love Pakistani penises. Because you'll do anything for a Pakistani penis. Seriously, let's just break it all down, shall we? Keir Starmer must love Pakistani penis. Because he'll do anything for a Pakistani man's penis. He will. Anything. He'll bring as many Pakistani penises in as he possibly can to the country. And allow them to rape his own citizens. But not his own kids, of course.
Right.
Not his own kids. They're behind the guns and walls that nobody else is allowed to have in the country. And all of this is on purpose, too. So you feel unsafe, so you bring in mass surveillance. That then Keir Starmer profits off of. All right, I had to put this in. I don't know how, this video is like 4 minutes. I don't know how long I let it go, but it's too good. Brandon Gill's, I haven't seen anything bad on Brandon Gill, so I'm hoping that he's an exception to the rule and isn't bought off and everything else. But this is Brandon Gill versus, quote, Brandon Gill. I asked the SNAP policy director at the Food Research and Action Council. Can anybody guess what the Food Research and Action Council is? Can anybody guess? Aaron knows the show. Yeah, of course. So Will pays for this woman's salary. I want to congratulate Will, a war veteran, war hero. Will pays for this woman's salary that he's just about to watch this video. So let's watch the expertise of these people who are in charge of the nutrition. Remember now in the pregame, you had Holly versus the doctor who could not identify whether or not a male, Holly made sure he said it, that he asked her, can a biological male have a baby? And the woman, doctor, who has numerous patients, could not answer or refused to answer the question. Watch this Potomac two-step. Play it for me.
Is there nutritional value to sugary sodas? It's a yes or no question.
I am not an expert. I would have to look at the dietary guidelines.
You're not an expert. I don't think that there's nutritional value to sugary sodas. I think most people in this room would agree with that assessment. But you have no opinion?
I'm here to talk about the food needs and the hunger crisis that individuals here in America are facing.
Are you that ideologically dug in that you want our tax dollars paying for sugary sodas that you will not, in a straightforward way, admit that sugary sodas are not healthful for the American people?
I think that focusing on soda when people are going hungry.
We spend a lot of our tax dollars are spent on soda. That's why I'm asking about it.
We have
and
no,
you appear to be so ideologically dug in that you won't answer a simple question that's not an appropriate use of our tax dollars, and that does not, in fact, make the American people more healthy.
I won't answer because there's no data sort of proving that.
Do you need data to determine whether drinking soda is healthy?
I think
I'm sorry, it's a serious question. Is there some, do you believe that perhaps drinking sodas every day is healthy?
The worst health outcome is hunger. When the individuals don't have the resources.
Do you satiate hunger with Coca-Cola?
I did not say that.
But you said that the worst health outcome is hunger, and I'm asking you about sugary sodas.
And I'm focusing on the nutrition needs and making sure that children have the resources.
Is your organization funded by soft drink makers?
I am not in charge of development, but no.
It's not, okay. Is your organization funded by organizations that make money from food stamps? Do organizations who profit off of food stamps fund your organization or businesses?
I mean, I can't comment to that. Happy to talk about the resource that needed.
Does General Mills fund your organization?
I don't have access to that information.
I do. It's right here. They do fund your organization. Do they profit off of food stamps?
Retailers are the major beneficiaries.
Do you think that that's a conflict of interest?
That's where EBT dollars are utilized.
Yes, and they're profiting off of your advocacy. Do you think?
All right, so there you go. Now, again, here we are on the TLP podcast. So let's do the research ourselves. Because here I am drinking my usual Coke per podcast. And let's break it down. So sodium in my Coca-Cola is 45 milligrams of sodium. Total carbohydrates, 39 grams. Total sugars, 39 grams, includes 39 grams added sugar. Added sugars, 78%. So I think you can probably say that, and then right on the can, not a significant source of saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, fiber, vitamin D, calcium, iron, or it has no protein in it, protein 0 grams. So I think we can assess this for ourselves that there is absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. Boy, it tastes good though when the bubble's going down your throat. But that's it. Okay, so this woman cannot answer it. And one of the most poignant points of that entire interview was at the end, does General Mills profit off of SNAP? Again, I'm telling you folks, I don't know it yet, but I am beginning to suspect that there is no such thing as legitimate billionaires or billionaire corporations, because I believe it all started with seed money of our own tax revenue. I mean, think about it. If you're a mere, we're way more than this, but on the debt clock, $40 trillion in debt. Remember now, a trillion, one of those trillions is 1,000 billions. 1,000 billions, all right? So if you just, literally hand out to anybody $1 billion, and we are $40 trillion, 40 times 1,000 billions in debt, and you just hand out those billions, you can just create a bunch of people that will obey you. So what happens here? So you have General Mills actually, so SNAP gets sent our SNAP money, okay, $40 trillion. I don't know how much goes to SNAP. We've put it on the show before, whatever billions it is. Part of that money goes to this NGO, the Food Research and Action Council, who doesn't know whether Coke's nutritional or not. They disseminate the money. Who funds them? The people who make the food products that they're buying. Now, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, 44% of their money comes from where? The very people that they regulate. How in the world? I mean, that's the same as Moderna and the NIH. Moderna and the NIH. Fiscal year 2025, Aaron just sent it to me. U.S. federal government spent $101.7 billion on the SNAP program. And oh man, this is where I miss cussing. Man. I miss it so bad. And it's not just cussing, it's other disgusting words. But anyway, but they're beautiful in their own right. So, but anyway, this woman here, she gets funded by the people. I mean, she receives money. And by the way, then that would it's all very fascistic in nature, because you have the people who are actually funding this NGO are actually creating their own customers by funding the NGO. Because General Mills, that's all your cereals. And by the way, you can condense all of our food options into six companies, unless you buy pure organic. There's really 6 companies in our entire country that produce them, which is what they want to. Maybe that's the 666. I'm just kidding. But it's like they want 6 banks too. But there's really like 6 food companies total. And they profit off of our tax dollars. So you end up with NGOs lobbying for this money for the people that fund those NGOs so that they continue to get money. That's how it is. So General Mills is profiting off of the SNAP program. So why would they not have, they're basically their own NGO speaking for them? And everybody at the NGO's profiting off of it. Who's not profiting off of it? 316 people watching, Will, Aaron, and me. But they all are. All right, let's go New World Order here. What I call the cabal section of the show. Ted Logan video titled, "Get the Flock Out of Here." Play it for me.
Americans finally had it with this mass surveillance system. That is a Flock safety camera. It's an artificial intelligence automated license plate reader. I've reported on Flock before, and if there's one thing people in the comments can agree on, it's their hatred of this. That's because at least 90,000 Flock cameras across 6,000 communities read over 20 billion plates per month. All that information then gets uploaded into a giant shared database, which can be accessed by law enforcement and government agencies. And no surprise, this raises a slew of issues. Like one Ohio man pulled over accused of stolen plates, attacked by police dogs, and jailed because Flock read the 7 on his plates as a 2. Or the Colorado woman accused of stealing a package and treated as guilty until proven innocent because Flock caught her driving 20 times in 1 month. Then there's the Arkansas couple that had a Flock camera pointed right at their house, putting them and their guests under constant warrantless surveillance. And not to perpetuate stereotypes, but multiple cops and police chiefs have accessed Flock hundreds of times to stalk their exes and current partners. But don't worry, you can stalk people too, because Flock cameras are hackable in under 30 seconds. They can be turned into a personal spy device, run on an Android operating system discontinued in 2021, and didn't even have two-factor authentication until it recently came out that they didn't. YouTuber Ben Jordan even found 51 vulnerabilities with Flock and said accessing them is so easy, 12-year-olds could do it. We don't condone the destruction of Flock cameras, but we're also not surprised the public has reached their boiling point. One Virginia man now faces 19 felonies and 6 misdemeanors for destroying 13 cameras over 6 months. In Michigan, police used Flock to catch this guy who caused about 10 grand in damage to cameras. And Oregon vandals / patriots, depending who you ask, cut down 9 Flock cameras, leaving some with colorfully worded stickers. Flock cameras in California, Connecticut, and Illinois have also been destroyed. So, did Americans take notes from Britain's Blade Runners?
No, yeah, not just Britain. It's China, which is a total surveillance state. That's not hyperbolic. They are a complete and total surveillance state. Again, I've already said this 3 times. I'll say it one more time. But you had the Fox reporter, and in Beijing, I assume, a city in China, sitting there illegally parked. He received his ticket in the car in 4 minutes. Illegally parked for 4 minutes. It all came through the car. Everything's automated, went right through the car, got his ticket. Okay, now, and again, if you want this, and I know that I'm preaching the choir, but if you want this, please understand 1 Thessalonians 5, 3 and 4, which I quoted earlier. For when they shall say peace and safety, all the cops are all in favor of this. And they're like, Tom, aren't you a cop? Yeah, but I'm not in favor of this. Like, you have a lot of cops that love the gun buybacks, and not me. Okay, I mean, so just because a lot of cops are for it certainly doesn't mean all cops are for it. But anyway, this cannot happen. And by the way, let me just firmly say, please do not ever vandalize any of these things. Don't. A lot of these people are going to prison you can go to prison for 10 years. Okay, it's not worth that. I'm just saying, and don't do it. It's not. Don't commit a crime to stop another crime. But anyway, and what would I consider to be a civil or social crime? But anyway, so you see this right here, 20 billion plates per month. Some of these flock cameras are reading. And like Aaron said, that's why you're seeing all the need for these data centers. We're building data centers. Again, the title of that video was like sympathetic. I'm trying to remember where it was. Suicidal empathy. Well, you can have suicidal safety too. Or you know what? I want every crime to be caught on video. If you do, you trade in every bit of your freedom. Every bit of them. Because Flock doesn't just those mount cameras. I think I got it here. Yeah, I do. Good. All right, go to the next one. So here's Colin Rugg video. New Yorkers with 16 or more speed violations. What's going to happen with them? Play it for me.
This is another area where I'm surprised at the controversy around it when it makes so much sense. You think about someone, I'm going to ask these gentlemen here, if someone gets 16 speeding tickets in a year, would you consider that an excess speeder? And that's not normal, right, guys? I mean, they're just looking for an accident. They're looking to end up in this repair shop. So what we said, we have to protect people. There's pedestrians, there's moms pushing strollers, there's people on bikes, there's kids going to school. We have to protect people. And if someone is so flagrantly violating the laws that there's a callous disregard of human life, is the only way I can describe it, there have to be consequences. Have to be. So now we have technology that says there's a device that can be installed in a vehicle that would limit how fast you can go. And I think that's what happens. There's plenty of notification. You can appeal if you want to question one of the tickets in the prod. There's due process. We'll make sure. But installing this, and if you don't install it, after 45 days, you lose your registration. You should not be on the roads if you don't care about whether or not you're going to kill somebody. And when you hug a mom, lots of moms, as I've had to do over the last few months, who've lost children, that pain never grows away. But they at least have some comfort in their hearts that maybe they can prevent the next family from having to grieve the way they did because of someone's reckless indifference to life.
This is obviously the governor of the state of New York. I don't understand why this is controversial, that you're going to have a device implanted into your car that can basically shut your car off and regulate your speed. So if you have a murderer chasing you and you're running for your life, and you go over 55 miles an hour, the state of New York will not allow you to go over 55 miles an hour as your assailant's firing bullets at you. All right. And she doesn't understand why this is controversial. And again, there will be many, many right wingers. Okay. Who is behind JD Vance? Say it, Aaron.
Palantir.
Our good Palantir.
Yep.
All right. What does Palantir do? I'm not saying Palantir is behind Flock or anything else, but they're mass surveillance, data centers, mass surveillance. You listen, if a Republican comes out in favor of mass surveillance, it's still bad, Byron Donalds. It's still bad. Who's for data centers and who's not? It's very easy. It's very easy. I know we have to have some data centers. I get it. I know. But again, life is walking in nuance. I said this on Sunday morning. You know, there's times to shout amen in church and there's times not to. So amens are good some of the time.
Right. Yeah.
You have to be able to walk in that nuance. But Aaron gave this to me. Confrontational clause of the Sixth Amendment to the United States Constitution. It grants criminal defendants the right to be present in the courtroom to look prosecution witnesses, not Flock cameras or any other camera. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of other brands or any Palantir camera to look the right to be present in the courtroom to look prosecution witnesses in the eye and to cross-examine them. How am I going to cross-examine a camera? Then under oath in open court. Right now in Sarasota County, last I knew in Sarasota County, the cameras, you couldn't use cameras to write tickets. In the city of Sarasota, they are. but you can't prove who is driving the car. But they still send the owner a ticket. They have no idea who's driving the car. And then they make the owner prove that they weren't driving. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, but it gets bad, it makes bad drivers pay a price, be penalized. Okay, you want to give up your freedom for that? Not me. Because again, guns in the hands of people kill other people. Do you want to get rid of all the guns? This will eliminate an occasional traffic crash, whatever it may be, okay? Are you willing to give up all your freedom, say you eliminate 2,000 crashes via the Flock system. Let's just say per year, 500 crashes a year. If you usher in mass totalitarian surveillance, how many people are going to die? Whenever you usher in mass surveillance, how did that work out in Nazi Germany? How did it work in Mao Zedong's China? How did it work in Pol Pot's Vietnam, Cambodia? How did that work? How did it work? So yeah, you may save, and that's how they do it. For when they shall say peace and safety. And that's what all these police chiefs are saying. Just trying to keep people safe. Whenever you have a temporal amount, a small amount of lives saved, and you're trading that for millions of people dying when the total surveillance and the totalitarianism kicks in, as we saw during COVID. Allegedly, 0.1% of all COVID victims will die of COVID, and they killed 35 million people, vaccinating them against a virus with a 0.1% post-infection death rate. That's how it always works. Well, we're saving people. Number one, the vaccine saved nobody, but let's pretend that they did for just a moment. You killed 35 million to save 12. That's how it is. I love this video. The Facts Dude video. Jacob Rockwell was fined for running a red light in Pensacola, Florida. Play for me.
Now, I'm going to be a little bit meaner than them, so please don't violate my rights. Normally, I wouldn't come to a city council meeting. I'm one of the county's pains in the ass. Historically, I stay out of the city, and the city stays out of my business. It was a pretty decent arrangement. But then y'all sent me one of these tickets from one of your AI red light cameras you have deemed as necessary infrastructure in your city. Thing about this is I was in Seminole, Alabama at the time I allegedly ran this red light downtown. How can I be in two places at once, you ask? Don't worry, I asked myself that too. Outside of Scotty beaming me up 30 miles in an instant, the only logical conclusion is I wasn't there. These things have been deemed unconstitutional for this reason, because the enforcement action of 316.0083 unduly shifts the burden of proof to the vehicle owner, me, to prove my innocence rather than the state having to prove my guilt. Currently, I'm guilty by default. I've been convicted by a computer program. Usually this whole mess of who committed the infraction is settled by a police officer pulling somebody over and actually witnessing them in the driver's seat. The AI camera doesn't do any driver verification whatsoever. To get your constitutionally mandated due process, you have to jump through hoops put up by Automated Enforcement Division, a private company in Orlando that's owned by another corporation called Novoa Global, which is owned by a Chilean-Swedish millionaire named Carlos Hofstedt. So not only does this process flow through a private company, our DMV records and personal registration information are accessible by a foreign actor. But anyway, AED sends you this paper, and if you want to fight this thing because you are wrongfully accused, me again, you can't just request a hearing through PPD or the courthouse. Remember, Carlos is involved, so if you have to go through his company, his website, print off his paper, fill it out with enough information to take out a home loan, have it notarized, mail it to the foreign actor, Carlos in Orlando, and then wait for something from someone to tell you about a hearing. This is undue burden even to begin to try to get some kind of due process. Paying is super easy though, go figure. And about that, you can't pay cash. PPD doesn't accept it, and neither does Carlos. According to 31 U.S.C. 5103, all U.S. currency and coins must be accepted for all government obligations, fines, fees, taxes, and due. So not only does this whole thing violate constitutional due process, it violates federal law by not accepting U.S. currency to satisfy a government action. Whoever thought this was a good idea is a self-loathing, America-hating, bureaucratic hobgoblin whose pockets probably got stacked with Carlos bucks. You got my attention, though. I'm going to become a more frequent voice down here working to expose frauds and petty tyrants. Congratulations, you all got yourselves a new pain in the ass.
I love that guy. I love how some of you guys are talking about out in Tom's Soda Fund and everything. There's one night that I was at home prepping for the podcast, and I was eating trolleys and washing them down with a Dr. Pepper Slurpee, which trolleys are basically gummy bears, gummy worms, caked in sugar.
Yeah.
So they're sugar gel caked in actual granular sugar, for those of you who don't know it. And they're like the sour ones. I'm just hauling them down. And I'm kind of an extremist. I know that's shocking to all of you that are watching. So like I never do anything in moderation. I'm just eating this whole bag of these things and I'm washing them down. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. No problem. I kind of worried about sometimes like, being a little overwrought with sugar or whatever. But anyway, I am eating gelatin, which is made of sugar, caked in sugar, washing it down with 40 grams per can worth of Dr. Pepper Slurpee. And on the ride in, I started to feel like I might pass out. I was like seeing splotches and stuff. And I came into the podcast room and I'm sitting over here. I can't remember, was Will here? Was it Will or was it Joe? I think it was Will.
Yeah.
But Aaron, I'm literally like, I'm going to pass out. Something like I felt bad, like really bad. Like I'm going to go out. I'm sweating profusely. And Aaron sends me a text and he's like, are you all right? Because I couldn't figure out what my sheets were saying. I'm like high, but in a bad way. Not hot, not in an enjoyable way. Like basically out of it. I aimed this close to this going, I can't do it. So I'm just holding on. Like it took me like the first 10, 12, 15 minutes of the podcast to get to where I was actually knowing where I was, understanding what I was talking about. I was just trying to get through it. So watch your sugar intake. But anyway. So this last one is actually put out by Flock. What if every LPR alert came with aerial intelligence? They're advertising this like it's a good thing. Play it for me.
We got information about a subject that was armed and dangerous. We're able to use Flock LPR to kind of narrow down the area of where he was.
We finally got intel that he had a tattoo on his neck. And I saw a gentleman standing in front of one of our restaurants, and I zoomed in a little bit, and I saw the dark mark on his neck.
From nearly 1,000 feet away, we can zoom in, identify this tattoo. We have our officers on the ground. It kept the person that was in crisis, the officers, and the community safe. It was something I was very proud that our staff was able to do.
The DFR is an asset. It's a tool for our patrols. We use the DFR as overwatch for our patrol officers, so we can guide them to resources, guide them to specific places where an incident may be occurring.
Honestly, it helps us connect the dots faster.
Getting that 100% aerial perspective of any call for service that you guys have within your department is a crucial piece for officer safety and for community safety.
All right, so there you go. And I'm totally against Aaron. What was that, Aaron? You don't still have that Abraham Lincoln quote, do you?
Oh,
but basically
Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah.
So you can pull it up. That's a good. Skunk 71 loves trolleys. I do too. I got to watch it because once I start eating them, watch out. I buy 3 pound Aggravain. I buy 3 pounds, 3-pound bags of Hershey Kisses from Costco. Yeah, I got you. Who's the quote from?
Benjamin Franklin.
All right, Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Remember that when you're seeing these Flock things and they're being voted on in your local communities. All right, 1017, that's good. What we got for rants, Aaron?
We got 4.
All right, 4 rants.
Charlie E340 donated $50. Love
Oh,
truth.
wow, thank you. Charlie 340, thank you so much for the huge rant. Love the truth, too. You just always stick with it and you'll be good. You shall know the truth shall set you free. Go next for me.
Robin Aroni donated $10. Pastor Tom and crew, thanks for always being here for us. We appreciate you all. God bless.
Right back to you, Robin Roy. Thank you for always being there for me, too. Appreciate it, Pat. What pastors love the most are people who show up every single Sunday. That's who we love the most. Listen, people always think pastors are after money. Really, what we're after is attendance. The money part is for you to be blessed. All right, go next for me.
Jules 21 Hires donated $50. Best part of the day, TLP. Thank you.
Wow, Jules, 21 hours.
So
thank you so much. $50. Huge rant. Appreciate you. Love you. Another very faithful person here at Foundation Church. Love you a ton, Jules. Thank you. Go next for me.
Nude Monk donated $20. Thirsty Thursday, TLP.
Thirsty Thursday with my trolleys and my Dr. Pepper. All right, don't forget tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, only TikTok and Aggravain, Pure Bible, 1 hour. Really trying to keep it to 1 hour. Sometimes I go a little longer, but I really hover around the 1 hour mark. So 1 hour of Bible tomorrow night, live only. There's no replay. There's no recording. So live only TikTok and Instagram. Find Pepper. All right, don't forget tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, only TikTok and Agravain, Pure Bible, 1 hour. Really trying to keep it to 1 hour. Sometimes I go a little longer, but I really hover around the 1 hour mark. Record tomorrow night. Love you guys. Stick around for the post game. If I don't see you in the Bible study tomorrow, I'll see you at Foundation Church this Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, either in person or online. Again, one more time, stick around for post game. It's awesome. You got to see the first one with a nunchuck, swinging nunchucks. You'll love it. Love you guys. God bless you.
I have faith in you.
Ready, set, go.
Nice.
That's okay. That was off my damn teeth.
Okay, so I ended up getting a gold grill. I'm so excited about it right now. I absolutely love it. My dentist is absolutely amazing. Dr. Sean from LA Smile Specialist. I want to thank him so much, as well as Courtney, his assistant, for doing such a beautiful job today.
What's up, Bubbas? Hi.
No, he's
Whoa, that's gay. Did you? Oh, you were filming? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Hey, friendly, this is a terrible place to be living, isn't it? Hello, mister. Hello, Mr. Husband. Isn't it? You've been working. Hello, mister. What's your name? Are you Maximus? Hello.
About a lot of political things, but underneath all of that is the Bible. I am unapologetically 100% in favor of is the Bible. Jesus is the Word. There is no delineation. If the Bible says it, that's what Jesus is, and that's what Jesus believes. That's what this podcast is actually about, is to actually alert people to what is coming and what is our responsibility.